Deep in the deserts of Jordan, a narrow canyon twists through towering cliffs. The walls glow crimson at sunrise, streaked with pink, red, and ochre. At the end of this passage, a vision emerges, an ornate facade carved directly into the rock. This is Al-Khazna, the treasury of Petra, a city sculpted from stone, a city once forgotten, now reborn as legend. Petra has been called the rose-red city half as old as time. Its monuments whisper of wealth, devotion, and mystery. Its ruins speak of vanished people, the Nabataeans, who carved a kingdom from the desert. For centuries, Petra thrived as a crossroads of civilizations. Then, like so many great empires, it fell into silence. Why did this city rise from barren cliffs? Why was it abandoned to the sands? And what secrets still linger in its rose-red stone? To reach Petra, one must pass through the Seek, a narrow gorge nearly a mile long. Its sandstone walls rise hundreds of feet, twisting in shadow and light. For travelers of antiquity, entering the Seek was to enter another world. The Nabataeans controlled this passage, guarding the lifeline of their hidden capital. The Seek funneled not only people, but caravans of incense, spices, and silk. Petra was more than a city. It was a gate between worlds: Arabia, Egypt, the Levant, and beyond. The Nabataeans turned the desert into their ally. They made secrecy and stone their defense. And through this narrow canyon, they welcomed the wealth of empires. Petra was not built where life was easy. It was built where vision turned hardship into opportunity. At the heart of Petra's story lies the Nabataeans, a nomadic Arab people. They mastered the harsh deserts of Arabia. While other tribes wandered, the Nabataeans learned to stay. They became guardians of trade, guides through the wilderness, and merchants of incense and myrrh, precious goods more valuable than gold. By the 4th century BCE, they carved out a kingdom. Petra became their jewel, a capital hidden in rock. The Nabataeans were pragmatic yet visionary. They borrowed from Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia, but forged a culture uniquely their own. Their gift was adaptation. In architecture, religion, and commerce, they absorbed influences and reshaped them in stone. From obscurity, they rose to rule a desert empire. Petra was the expression of their genius. The greatest miracle of Petra was not its monuments, but its water. In a land of searing heat and little rain, the Nabataeans engineered survival. They carved channels into canyon walls, lined them with clay to prevent leakage, and built dams to divert floods. Cisterns stored precious rainwater, hidden underground from the blazing sun. With these systems, Petra thrived where no city should exist. Water sustained gardens, baths, and fountains. It nourished thousands of citizens, traders, and pilgrims. This mastery of water was Petra's true treasure. It turned barren cliffs into a metropolis, but it was also a fragile lifeline. One disruption, an earthquake, a drought, or neglect could spell disaster. The Nabataeans defied nature, but nature always waits. Emerging from the Seek, visitors first behold Al-Khazna, the treasury. Its facade rises 40 meters, a fusion of Greek columns and Nabataean artistry. Legends say it held the treasure of Pharaoh. In truth, it was likely a royal tomb, a monument to kingship and faith. The treasury was not just architecture, it was theater. Carved to awe travelers, its beauty proclaimed Petra's power. Intricate carvings of eagles, vines, and deities spoke of a culture at the crossroads of worlds. At sunrise, its rose-red stone blazes with fire. At dusk, it glows with solemn majesty. The treasury remains Petra's icon, a symbol of what human hands can carve when ambition meets stone. Beyond the treasury, Petra sprawls across valleys and cliffs. The Nabataeans carved hundreds of facades, tombs, temples, and homes. The Street of Facades displays rows of chambered tombs cut directly into the cliffs. The royal tombs rise in grandeur, palaces for the dead. Above them all towers the monastery, a massive shrine nearly 50 meters wide. Its silence is commanding, its scale overwhelming. But Petra was not only for the dead. Markets bustled with trade, theaters echoed with voices, altars smoked with sacrifice. It was a living city, its lifeblood commerce and worship. The stone monuments we see today were both tombs and testaments. They proclaimed Nabataean power to strangers and bound their people to gods. Petra was not simply carved from stone. It was carved into eternity. Petra's wealth came from its location. It sat at the heart of caravan routes linking Arabia, Egypt, the Levant, and Mesopotamia. Frankincense, myrrh, spices, silk, all passed through its gates. The Nabataeans taxed this trade, amassing immense wealth. But Petra was more than a toll station. It was a cultural crossroads. Greek columns, Egyptian motifs, Mesopotamian deities all mingled in its art. Traders carried not only goods but ideas. Petra became a laboratory of cultures, where East met West in stone. This fusion was its strength but also its vulnerability. For a city built on trade, to lose trade was to lose life. Carved into the rock, Petra's theater seated thousands. Here dramas played, decrees were proclaimed, alliances celebrated. It was a symbol of Roman influence, adapted into Nabataean stone. Daily life bustled around markets. Traders sold incense, ceramics, textiles. Citizens bartered, worshipped, debated. Homes carved into cliffs housed families. Temples echoed with ritual chants. Petra was no silent necropolis. It was vibrant, noisy, alive. Children played in plazas, merchants haggled. Priests offered sacrifices. The desert became stage for a cosmopolitan drama. But beneath the bustle, whispers of fragility lingered. A city carved in stone is still a city of men, and men cannot hold eternity forever. Religion bound the Nabataeans. They worshipped Dushara, the god of the mountains, and Al-Uzza, goddess of fertility. Shrines dotted Petra, from grand temples to humble altars. The monastery, likely dedicated to Dushara, towered above all, a sacred beacon in stone. Carved betyls, sacred stone blocks, symbolized divine presence. The Nabataeans absorbed foreign gods, folding them into their pantheon. Religion justified power, sanctified trade, and wove Petra into cosmic order. But gods demand offerings. As wealth flowed, so did devotion. When the wealth dried and gods fell silent, faith wavered. Even the greatest temple cannot stand when belief crumbles. In 106 CE, Petra's independence ended. Rome annexed Nabataea, absorbing it into the empire. At first, Petra prospered. Rome valued its trade, its exotic goods. But the empire brought change. New trade routes opened by sea, bypassing desert caravans. Rome invested elsewhere, and Petra's role diminished. The city still thrived in art and ritual, but its power slipped. Roman theaters, arches, and baths blended with Nabataean stone. Yet beneath the grandeur, decline had begun. Petra had been built on commerce. Without it, its foundations weakened. Rome's conquest was not destruction. It was absorption, a slow erosion of purpose. Petra remained beautiful, but less essential. Nature was Petra's silent enemy. In 363 CE, a massive earthquake struck. Temples toppled, colonnades crumbled, cisterns split open. The lifeline of water, so carefully engineered, was fractured. Petra rebuilt, but never fully recovered. Later earthquakes deepened the wounds. Stone that once proclaimed immortality proved vulnerable to the trembling earth. Without water, Petra could not thrive. Without thriving, it could not defend its importance. The desert pressed in, the caravans passed elsewhere, and Petra's grandeur dimmed. The Nabataeans had conquered drought, but they could not conquer the ground itself. Petra, carved in defiance of nature, was undone by nature's hand. What the gods gave, the earth reclaimed. Trade had been Petra's lifeblood, but by the 4th century CE, new maritime routes carried spices and silk across the Red Sea. Ships bypassed the long desert trails. Caravans dwindled, Petra's tolls declined. Once merchants thronged its markets, camels lined its gates. Now silence crept into plazas. Theaters stood empty, altars cold. Petra's greatness had been tied to global demand. When trade shifted, so did destiny. The city lingered in beauty, but lost its purpose. A capital without commerce, a shrine without pilgrims. Petra became a monument to memory, not a center of life. The rose-red city was fading, not in fire, but in silence. As centuries passed, Petra slipped from history into legend. Travelers whispered of a hidden city guarded by jinn and demons. The treasury was said to hold Pharaoh's gold, its urn blasted by bullets from treasure seekers. In Christian texts, Petra was linked to Edom and Esau, a cursed land. Arab lore spoke of spirits haunting the cliffs, keeping strangers away. The city became myth, half remembered in stories, half hidden in desert winds. While ruins stood in silence, memory transformed them into wonder. Petra was forgotten by empires, but never erased from imagination. It lingered in rumor, awaiting rediscovery. In 1812, Swiss explorer Johann Burckhardt, disguised as a Bedouin, was led through the Sikh. He emerged into the treasury's shadow, stunned by the facade glowing rose-red. For the West, Petra was reborn. Burckhardt's writings spread, igniting fascination. Artists, archaeologists, and adventurers rushed to Jordan, drawn by the city of stone. Europe marveled at a civilization lost in its own backyard. To the Bedouins who guarded it, Petra had never been lost. But to the world, it was revelation. From forgotten ruin, it became a wonder reborn. The rose-red city stepped once more into history. Excavations uncovered tombs, altars, and inscriptions. Each discovery deepened the mystery. Who were the Nabataeans? How did they carve such beauty? Why did they fade? Archaeologists mapped water channels, studied shattered temples, pieced together fragments of language. The more uncovered, the more questions arose. Treasury urns were empty, royal tombs plundered, many chambers still unexplored. Petra revealed grandeur but withheld certainty. It was history, yet still legend. A puzzle in stone, half explored, half enchanted. Petra remains not just a ruin, but a question carved in cliffs. Today, Petra is Jordan's crown jewel. Tourists walk the Sikh, gasping as the treasury emerges. The city hums with voices again, not of merchants, but of travelers. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site in 1985. In 2007, it was named one of the new 7 wonders of the world. But Petra is fragile. Footsteps erode stone, wind and rain carve away facades. Preservation is a race against time. Archaeologists, Bedouin communities, and governments work to protect it. Petra stands at a crossroads once more, between preservation and loss, between memory and oblivion. Petra is more than ruins. It is testament to human will. The Nabataeans defied desert, mastered water, and carved eternity from stone. They proved civilization need not rise on fertile rivers, but could bloom in barren cliffs. Petra is proof that beauty and survival can coexist in hardship. Its rose-red stone glows not only with sunlight, but with human ambition. Even in decline, it remains a symbol that what we carve, what we dream, can outlast us. Petra is desert turned into wonder, silence turned into legacy. Petra also warns us, civilizations rise, but none endure forever. Trade shifts, nature strikes, empires absorb and forget. The Nabataeans built wonders, yet their world unraveled. We too live in fragile balance, with climate, with resources, with power. Petra shows how quickly fortune fades. What seems eternal today may be ruined tomorrow. The rose-red stone whispers not only of beauty but of impermanence. Its silence is a reminder, all civilizations are temporary. The question is, what legacy will we leave? Petra has lived many lives, a Nabataean capital, a Roman province, a forgotten ruin, a rediscovered wonder. It has inspired poets, painters, and filmmakers. Lawrence of Arabia marched near its cliffs. Indiana Jones revealed its treasury to the world. Petra lives not only in stone but in imagination. It is canvas for myth, stage for history, mirror for humanity. Every visitor sees something different, a tomb, a temple, a dream. Petra endures in memory, half legend, half truth. The sun sets on Petra. Its cliffs blaze with crimson fire, then fade to shadow. The treasury stands silent as it has for 2 millennia. The monastery watches from its heights. The sea holds its eternal silence. Petra is not gone. It is here, waiting. It reminds us that beauty can emerge from the harshest places, that ambition can carve eternity, but also that time conquers all. The rose-red city is both triumph and warning, testament to ingenuity and echo of fragility. Petra endures in stone, in story, in memory. And as we walk its canyons, we walk not only through ruins, but through the legacy of a people who turned desert into wonder. Petra asks us one final question. What will we carve in our time that will endure beyond us?